Hello, we are Khepera, a blockchain, bioregenerative, decentralized autonomous organization. Our mandate? The reintroduction of mankind's original natural resource management methods, called bioregeneration, using blockchain technology. My name is Gregory Walker, Khepera's founder and inventor. Please join us on this amazing journey as we unite ancient knowledge and new technology to ensure a bright future. Welcome to Khepera BBDIO.
BioRegenerative origins.
This is a symbol for mankind's first economic structure. It is a natural system of exchange based upon the metabolic excretions of humans, nurturing the growth of plants that in turn nurtured us, with the assistance of insects and mushrooms. We call this the bioregenerative economic life cycle, the BELC for short. For untold generations, humanity engaged in this BELC existence, thriving in a symbiotic relationship with nature. According to anthropology, this lifestyle endured for hundreds of thousands of years inside tropical rainforests teeming with interconnected life. Human deposits to this natural banking system would activate detritivores, eaters of decaying matter like worms and insects, along with fungal mushroom decomposers. These natural BELC bank tellers would exchange these human deposits, allowing nature to then issue its currency, plants and mushrooms for human consumption and a clean, healthy environment. This renewed and enriched soil fed plants that gave our ancestors sustenance, often leading to surplus abundance. This plant abundance was then traded for items to make hunting, gathering, and fishing more effective, and so items such as fish hooks or arrowheads became the first iteration of money. Our rainforest ancestors were easily able to barter, trade, and share because they lived in small bands where they knew and relied upon each other. This interpersonal trust, according to archaeologists, was egalitarian and thus promoted human survival via peaceful living and environmental balance. Here we have what may be humanity's biggest mistake: environmentally disruptive farming. No longer are we relying on natural processes maintained by detritivores to grow our food healthily. We now rip into the soil and pour chemicals into it, which releases tons of greenhouse gas. It is true that tilling and monocropping have led to spectacular increases in harvest, but at the cost of soil erosion, nutrient depletion, and the looming threat of antibiotic resistance. According to UN experts, we only have a few decades until this system of food cultivation leads to mass starvation. So we must find a way back to the BELC, our bioregenerative economic life cycle. Fortunately, Khepera BBDIO has a new innovation inspired by our rainforest legacy to accomplish just that.
BioRegenerative technology.
Introducing the Detritivore Laboratory Bioregeneration Station, DLAB for short. This patent-pending device is an ergonomically designed home-based unit built for convenient toilet relief. It also safely farms bioregeneration agents similar to those from the rainforest. The DLAB farms insects, worms, and mushrooms, allowing them to do what they have always done: bioregenerate. As a substitute or replacement for toilets, pit latrines, sewers, and other centralized sanitation methods, the DLAB can be deployed anywhere, and it can be used by anyone because it's been specifically designed to suit the needs of women, children, and the elderly. And it also generates a basic income, as we will shortly see. This breakthrough is derived from the bioregeneration of food and toilet waste, especially by the actions of the amazing insect you see before you, the amazing black soldier fly. This chart shows the adult, with the larvae that do the actual work at the top, and many of the profitable use cases for this creature. Hatched from hundreds of eggs laid by the adult, the black soldier fly larvae, BSFL for short, grows astoundingly fast from the consumption of decaying matter. Within 2 weeks, this insect becomes an antibiotic, antibacterial, and antimicrobial pupae, nutritious feed for fish and farm animals, so packed with healthy properties, it often mitigates the needs for farming antibiotics. Together with the worms and mushrooms at work inside the system, this detritivore helps bring back the bioregenerative circle of life. Now, take a closer look at the D-Lab itself. This is the D-Lab from the actual patent submission. It is 4.5 feet long, 22 inches high, with a stair step built in for mounting. It is a stooping device, which is done by most people in the developing world, where it will first be deployed. Images 20 and 30 to the left show the outer shell. 20 also depicts the stability bar, while 30 depicts the small side stability bars and the tippy-tap water jug rinsing system. Image 40 depicts the male and female urinals, along with chutes for solids, menstrual blood, and hair, and also the tippy-tap rinse water chute. At the rear of image 40, you see the blue-colored baby changing station and the sliding top that secures the system. Image 50 depicts the impact cushion. Image 60 shows the black soldier fly larvae housing, bioregeneration, and cooling system. Image 70 depicts the worm bin inside the bioregenerator housing. And image 80 depicts the urine piping system, which leads to the fertilizer and biochar absorption bins. This is the D-Lab's outer hull, which doubles as a mushroom garden. It just so happens that BSFL frass, the insect's poop and shells, provide the perfect substrate for abundant mushroom growth. This means the billions soon to utilize the D-Lab will also be able to grow tons of clean, pesticide-free food, ensuring family nutrition and even extra income. Also, the king oyster mushrooms chosen for this purpose are packed with beta-glucans, a prebiotic fiber renowned for its immune system boosting properties. More about the amazing mushroom garden in the D-Lab and what it means to world health a little later. And here you can see D-Lab documentation. The cultivation of black soldier fly larvae, worms, and mushrooms are well-known and accepted technologies worldwide. The innovations Khepera BBDIO brings to the table are designs that miniaturize factory-sized systems, along with breakthrough cooling and insect herding mechanisms tied to a sensor-linked blockchain management system. Here is the actual D-Lab patent pending designation, along with documentation that this device has been accepted into the United States Patent Office's COVID-19 Fast Track program. This means that patent professionals, based upon designs as submitted, deem this device to have the potential to mitigate COVID-19 and other viruses. The third document is from the United States National Science Foundation, which has also recognized the potential of the D-Lab via an invite to submit a multi-year grant proposal.
BioRegenerative products.
Here are products that will be bioregenerated right inside the homes of the average family utilizing the D-Lab. Instead of toxic sewer and landfill waste, each family member contributes bioregeneratives that are transformed into world-class, much-needed commodities: topsoil, biofuel, fertilizer, and animal feed. We will now take a closer look at several of these products. The black soldier fly larvae, BSFL, farmed inside the D-Lab, consume several times their body weight per day, generating antibiotic bodily fats called lipids that easily replace the lipids extracted from palm oil trees. Unlike the palm oil industry, the bioregenerative farming of BSFL is extraordinarily carbon negative because they consume decaying matter long before the emergence of greenhouse gases. And, as the image indicates, an average family with the help of BSFL can be several times more productive than a palm tree. BSFL are utilized to create biofuels that are nearly identical to fuels created with palm oil, proving that this bioregenerative resource can be the feedstock for a vast supply of carbon-negative transport energy. The D-Lab also captures urine, which is channeled by a system of pipes to a chamber filled with a magnesium-based drying agent. The picture above is from a 2022 study by the University of Sweden, who perfected a method of making perfect fertilizer from magnesium and human urine. Besides the human-derived phosphorus, potassium, and nitrogen, the D-Lab combination combats the worldwide crisis of plant-derived magnesium deficiency. And, Unlike fossil fuel-based products, these two resources can never run out because magnesium is abundant in the earth and in the sea. Khepera's participating families can offer a carbon-negative, high-value commodity needed by everyone forever. The earth is also facing a threat, not mentioned enough: soil erosion. According to the United Nations, we have less than 60 years of harvest if we do not find a way to combat our dire soil crisis. Fortunately, Khepera's D-Lab creates rich dark topsoils from a mix of biochar and bioregenerative nutrients. In fact, the D-Lab was inspired by studies of ancient West African traditions, now largely forgotten, of mixing bioregeneratives with soil that allowed detritivores to ensure continued rich harvests. Khepera's D-Lab is designed to duplicate this bioregenerative gift using biochar made from farming refuse that would normally be burned, making new soil that is also a carbon-capturing commodity. A continuation of the soil-saving aspects of the D-Lab is the gathering, processing, and usage of Bacillus subtilis, a health-sustaining bacteria. The two places where Bacillus subtilis is found the most: inside a handful of rich soil and in the healthy gut system of human beings. BSFL mined this valuable bacteria from the gut systems of D-Lab users. Plants also need this bacteria to grow, making for powerful soil products from the system also. And, as mentioned earlier, mushrooms will thrive on this probiotic bacteria inside their substrate. Bacillus subtilis, as a healthy bacteria, is a probiotic, and mushrooms supply fibers which are prebiotics. Together, they create a newly classified balanced health designation called a symbiotic combination. Nutrition science has now confirmed that antibiotics, which destroy our gut health, must be replaced by symbiotic nutrition that builds good gut health. Symbiotic supplements have also been used successfully as a therapeutic method against COVID-19. This makes the D-Lab a symbiotic supplementation station as well as a bioregeneration station. More will be revealed shortly about the potential of the symbiotic nature of this system. Khepera BBDIO understands that blockchain endeavors exist for the purpose of accounting for and facilitating sales of very valuable carbon credits, and we are happy to work with them to help to facilitate the impressive suite of carbon credit generating activities we have in development. With an estimated 4.5 billion human beings in need of bioregenerative facilities worldwide, the carbon credit generating potential listed below is tremendous. Number 1, CO2 mitigation via the creation of biochar from usually open burn crop waste, worth an estimated $300 per participant family. Number 2, methane mitigation via the activities of the black soldier fly larvae inside the D-Lab, worth an estimated $3,000 per participant family. Number 3, nitrous oxide mitigation via the creation and distribution of bioregenerative natural fertilizer is to be determined, but it will be tremendous.
Symbiotic health initiatives.
Neglected tropical diseases, such as hookworms, plague hundreds of millions of people worldwide, mostly in the global south. Children are especially harmed by these parasites, which often robs them of their capacity for a normal, prosperous life. The detritivore laboratory can finally combat this tragedy by boosting immunity with homegrown symbiotic mushrooms and supplements. How? Because hookworms and other parasites are largely made of chitin, the hard shell surrounding insects, crabs, and other creatures. So the key to ejecting intestinal parasites naturally is to boost gastrointestinal acidic chitinase, which breaks down chitin. Eating mushrooms grown on insect frass packed with chitin activates this anti-parasitic response, thus doing naturally what many anti-parasite drugs do. Mushrooms grown inside the D-Lab may be the most powerful and low-cost anti-parasite system ever because of this little-known fact. Some mushrooms actually eat parasitic worms. Yes, you heard that right. Mushrooms are the only vegan food that itself eats meat. The king oyster mushroom chosen for its prebiotic nutrients and hardiness for growing inside the mushroom garden, is also noted by scientists to be a ferocious fungal hunter of nematodes like hookworms. Astounding as it may sound, these mushrooms deploy tiny weapons to paralyze the parasites and consume them, along with their larvae and hard-to-destroy eggs. If you'd like to know more about this amazing mushroom ability, just Google chemistryworld.com and seek out Mushroom Unleashes Chemical Warfare. Another little-known fact is that king oyster mushrooms sweat octanone, the same substance emitted by humans in our sweat and breath. Octanone is what attracts mosquitoes to bite, and this is how Tradd Cotter, the amazing mycologist seen here, devised a means to be rid of them. Cotter placed king oyster mushrooms inside traps that attracted mosquitoes. These traps were also seeded with a companion fungus he discovered that is toxic to both mosquitoes and the malarial larvae inside them. Trotter has been successful with this tactic with several test cases in the developing world, but never has there been a widespread deployment. Khepera BBDIO intends to incorporate this mosquito abatement system along with DLAB distribution to lift the burden, finally, of the deadly mosquito-spreading disease called malaria. Sepsis is another terrible disease plaguing the global south. In this case, it is bad bacteria, not parasites, that invade the body. It is especially dangerous during maternity and early infancy. This results in millions of annual deaths, most of them in developing countries. Antibiotics are often used to treat these women and children, but due to lack of access in poor countries, coupled with growing antibiotic resistance, many sadly do not survive. The good news is that 2 studies involving symbiotic supplements give us hope. One released in 2023 and the other done in rural India in 2017. The researchers from the 2017 study used a probiotic bacteria called Lactobacillus plantarum, combined with a prebiotic fiber, again abundant in king oyster mushrooms. This symbiotic combination was given to women in childbirth, and researchers reached this hopeful conclusion. Quote, "These findings suggest that a large proportion of neonatal sepsis in developing countries could be effectively prevented using a symbiotic containing L. plantarum." The other study directly involved the use of Bacillus subtilis, the DLAB probiotic bacteria, to combat multiple drug-resistant staph bacteria, commonly called MRSA. Their conclusion? After 4 weeks, researchers evaluated the participants' MRSA levels in the gut and nose. They found no changes in the control group, but in the probiotic group, they observed a 96.8 reduction in the stool and a 65.4 reduction in the nose. Despite these conclusions, these treatments have not been made widely available. Khepera BBDIO intends to change this because these symbiotic supplements can easily be created locally and given to women and children for free via the DLAB. For more information on these studies, Google a randomized symbiotic trial to prevent sepsis among infants in rural India from August 16, 2017, and probiotic for pathogen-specific staph from The Lancet in 2023. These are examples of the symbiotic essentials Khepera BBDIO will be producing via the DLAB to advance the health status of humanity. All these disease-fighting agents will be ironically sourced from biologically transformed material once considered poisonous waste. Health supplements for the gut, skin care, cardiovascular system, and more will be derived from the bioregenerative activity inside this revolutionary device. All right. This is the image for the World Health Organization's One Health initiative. A quote directly from their website states, "One Health is an approach to designing and implementing programs, policies, legislation, and research in which multiple sectors communicate and work together to achieve better public health outcomes. The One Health approach is critical to addressing health threats in the animal, human, and environment interface." And this is the One Health image superimposed by the innovations from the DLAB. At the top, you see the families utilizing BSFL to replace palm oil, thus saving forests worldwide for the animals and the indigenous people who live there. To the right are the bioregenerative products, soil, animal feed, fertilizer, all teeming with nutrients, with no mining or exploitation involved. These products also result in clean animal husbandry without the use of antibiotics in the feed. And at the bottom, there's the generation of carbon credits to fund climate change mitigation efforts and provide income for needy populations. And finally, to the left, you see the remarkable D-Lab mushroom garden, which can uplift the health of people and the environment via symbiotic health initiatives and great nutrition. Khepera BBDIO plans to work with the World Health Organization because we too believe there is only one health.
BioRegenerative rewilding.
The concept of rewilding, the reintroduction and protecting of animals in their natural habitats, has become an important goal, bringing together conservationists and climate change activists. This shift from simply planting trees and mechanically drawing down excess carbon has been informed by new scientific knowledge about the crucial role that animals play in the effort to stop global warming. Called FAUNICOLOGY, the scientific study of animals, these studies have revealed how wild and certain domesticated creatures serve as ecosystem engineers, working with plants to maintain healthy greenhouse gas balance. But what exactly is it that animals do to draw down carbon dioxide? The secret is bioregeneration. Animals consume plants that have accumulated massive amounts of CO2, and their excretions are then consumed and buried by dung beetles. Mycelium, worms, and microbes follow, sequestering the CO2 safely in the soil. In the case of sea creatures, like whales, this process is done via plankton. But there's another key species whose bioregenerative output into our ecosystems has not been properly examined, properly assessed, nor properly deployed, leading to global warming, soil degradation, and toxic pollution. That species is humans. The Khepera DAO commitment to reestablishing humanity's ties to the Belk includes restoring the proper place of human bioregeneratives in the natural world, which we call human-inclusive pharmacology. We will now show how the D-Lab will be utilized as a multi-ecosystem, blockchain-driven carbon mitigation unit driving bioregenerative rewilding. According to recent studies, it is animals and plants interacting together that naturally sequesters more carbon than planting trees alone or any man-made effort to date. This is accomplished, as mentioned earlier, because animals eat plants, digesting the carbon simultaneously. Some of this plant nutrition becomes animal flesh, but the majority of it emerges as animal bioregeneratives. And this is where Khepera's amazing insect namesake comes in. This insect, the Khepera bug, called the scarab, also known as the dung beetle. It feeds on animal feces and buries it in sophisticated tunnels for its young to hatch into and feed on later. This process is the primary way our soil gets nutrients and is actually a bioregeneration system involving herds of roaming animals, including humans and insects worldwide. But due to ecosystem degradation that has driven many animals near extinction and an insect apocalypse brought on by chemical usage, this system has been nearly broken. But Khepera is poised to lead the charge to fix this. It will be corrected by properly utilizing human bioregeneratives derived from the D-Lab to build up damaged ecosystems while protecting and reintroducing key carbon stabilizing species, especially keynote species like those pictured here, the wildebeest of the African savanna and the bison of the northern hemispheric plains. Part of the revenue from all Khepera activities, especially carbon credits, will be devoted to bioregenerative soil healing and the rewilding of these animals. Utilizing blockchain technology for recording and monitoring, symbiotic essentials will be distributed via drones onto grasslands to strengthen the animals, reduce parasites, and supercharge plant growth. And where needed, dung beetles will be rewilded also. Of course, more animals, more plants, and more scarab beetles in healthy environments means more carbon captured. Families helped by giftpreneurs to uplift their own well-being will also assist ecosystems and the animals living there to fight climate change via blockchain bioregenerative rewilding. Covering about 41% of the Earth's land surface on all continents, drylands are home to an estimated 2 billion people, about 90% of them in developing countries. These ecosystems are vulnerable to water shortage, drought, and extreme climate change impacts, with dangerous ramifications for the food security, livelihood, and well-being of local populations. Drylands areas are perhaps the biggest challenge for Khepera's belt mandate due to the large land masses, the number of people involved, and the dire circumstances of living in dry areas in a time of climate change. To tackle this challenge, D-Labs will be distributed widely to drylands populations, along with an innovative application of bioregenerative essentials for the generation of biocrust. Most people who have spent time in dry lands can recall stepping into areas where the soil is covered by a dark, crunchy coating. This is biocrust, a combination of living organisms like cyanobacteria, lichens, and mosses. Biocrust glue the soil together, slowly building its fertility by pulling nitrogen from the air and converting it to a form usable by plants, as well as storing atmospheric carbon. Biocrusts also soak up water, and their root-like micropores promote moisture by infiltration into soils. Scientific studies show that by adding Basilica subtilis and chitin, both derived from the D-Lab, to drylands areas, this valuable crust can be cultivated. Studies also show up to 4 tons of CO2 can be absorbed and mitigated per hectare by this mysterious carpet-like covering. From this substrate, desert plants grow automatically and can be seeded for even more CO2 capture. Then, key carbon stabilizing species, like the tortoise pictured here, can be rewilded. The tortoise, it should be noticed, is an unsung superhero of the animal world. It digs burrows that provide safety for hundreds of other creatures, making this drylands cousins of more well-known water turtles a true keynote species. They are the perfect introductory creature for the rewilding of the world's drylands. Seeding biocrust, combined with aggressive desert tree and cactus forestation, causes better food security and even increased water abundance for both humans and animals like the tortoise. Khepera will also call upon the advice of successful desert populations like South Africa's San people, who have lived in dry areas for thousands of years. And combining age-old wisdom with new technology, high-tech sensors will be used to track CO2 mitigation, soil moisture, and animal movement in these critical rewilded drylands areas. CO2 drawn down by trees creates a tree-based carbon sink. CO2 drawn into peatlands creates a soil-based carbon sink. The Khepera Fit Forestry and Peat Bioregeneration System will achieve both forms of carbon sequestration in a unique and powerful way, along with more sequestration via the innovative inclusion of human bioregeneratives. Earth's forests are being overwhelmed by parasitic vines on every continent except Antarctica. According to the latest scientific studies, these vines impair the ability of trees to absorb carbon to the effect of an average 10 tons of CO2 per hectare, which is about 2 acres. Meanwhile, our precious peat bogs, natural wetlands that combine decaying matter, water, and the most carbon-sucking terrestrial plants on Earth, are being degraded also. These peatlands draw down much more carbon than all the forests in the world due to the unique way they operate. Decaying plant and animal matter sink into mud. Then an extraordinary plant called sphagnum moss grows over it like a carpet, using the decaying matter as fertilizer. This sphagnum moss absorbs about 60 tons of carbon per hectare versus an average 20 ton hectares by trees. Then this moss dies, sinks into the muddy mass, and is covered by another layer, causing the carbon super sequestration process to continue. When peatlands are destroyed, that carbon is released, adding instead of subtracting from our climate change maladies. The Fit Forestry and Peat Bioregeneration System links the care of an acre of forest and an acre of peat through the bioregenerative output of one participant family utilizing the D-Lab. How does it work? A single acre of forest will be cleared of parasitic vines, and those vines will be burned into biochar. Then a family will utilize that vine-derived biochar as the substrate for their D-Lab bioregeneration station. This means that the urine from the family, along with worm frass, will be added to the biochar, creating a perfect, powerful organic substrate. This substrate will be spread over 1 acre of healthy peatlands, depriving the moss of sunlight and causing it to die, taking the carbon it has sequestered down into the peat substructure. Then, the biochar will feed new moss growth, covering each successive layer in a lasagna-like manner. This bioregenerative matter bundling will lock up 80 tons or more of greenhouse gas every 2 years or so. And of course, sensors will upload data to the blockchain to track, validate, and monetize this tremendous carbon credit generating system. The animals' rewilding value of forest lands are already famous, and via this effort, the peak ecosystem's connection to keynote species like deer, elk, beavers, insects, and many unique plants will also become well known. While generating healthy forests and rebuilding peatlands using human-inclusive pharmacology, countless tons of CO2 will be mitigated while safeguarding these precious ecosystems and their animals. The most important carbon-stabilizing marine species are whales. According to the latest research, these animals sequester up to 33 tons of carbon in their own bodies, which upon their demise sinks into the ocean where natural processes make sure it stays there. Each whale is also the catalyst for the sequestration of millions of tons of CO2 due to the bioregenerative whale pump phenomenon. Via this process, whales deposit their bioregeneratives at the ocean surface, where millions of tons of plankton feed and grow upon it. Ocean plankton are responsible for nearly 50% of the world's oxygen and provide the baseline source for the entire nutrient chain in our seas. Mesopelagic species, creatures that live in the waters near the ocean surface, like lanternfish, and tiny crustaceans called krill, feed on this plankton and are in turn fed upon by other marine creatures, especially whales, and the bioregenerative cycle continues. Our oceans also contain the most carbon-stabilizing plant ecosystems, called seagrass meadows. Located off the shores of all continents, except Antarctica, these areas are nurseries and habitats for countless animals. Keynote species affiliated with them are shown above: the manatee and the bonnet-head shark, the only shark that also eats plants. Seagrass sequesters 83 tons of CO2 per kilometer in the seabeds they grow from, making these meadows one of the most effective carbon-absorbing plants on Earth, or sea. Some countries like the UK have lost over 90% of this climate champion along their coast and are engaged in expensive rewilding efforts. One technique is to set up seabird perches in shallow areas so that nutrients from bird droppings, especially phosphorus, can fertilize and regrow this resource. Ocean acidification is the primary threat to both the whale population and the seagrass ecosystem. Fortunately, bioregenerative essentials will be of great help in these efforts also. Worm frass has very high concentrations of phosphorus, which will be generated in the millions of tons inside the D-Lab. Black soldier fly frass is alkaline in nature, while doubling as an extraordinary feed supplement for krill and other mesopelagic creatures. Both bioregenerative essentials will be delivered via drones to seagrass meadows and seeded along migratory whale paths while being tracked by biosensors. This data will be stored via blockchain for instant validation, auditing, and information sharing, leading to extraordinary increases in CO2 sequestration and carbon credit earnings. We invite you all to join us as we rewild our planet's seas, save endangered creatures, and restore depleted fisheries via human-inclusive pharmacology.
Bioregenerative blockchain.
Huge voids exist when it comes to technology designed around women's health. So we kick off this bioregenerative blockchain section with Khepera's contribution to femtech. This new movement is shaking up the world of feminine care and is perfectly aligned with Khepera's symbiotic products and technology suite. Our FemTech contribution will center around monitoring the health and fertility of girls and women safely and privately. DLAV sensors attached to urinals and menstrual blood chutes will collect and upload info to a private database, accessible only to the user via biometric, eye fingerprint, or voice recognition apps. This information can be used for fertility predictions, vital for family planning, STD detection, pregnancy monitoring, and tracking menopausal health in older women. Via the Nillion protocol, data will be captured, analyzed, and stored in a privacy-protecting, decentralized fashion. Then, per user permission, shared for community consultation and government health statistics. The app will then analyze health data and recommend symbiotic supplementation along with advice to see a medical professional if needed. As you can see, the DLAB will be a major tool in the emerging health category of FemTech due to the assistance of decentralized methods like Nillion, augmenting blockchain technology. FemTech is just one component of Khepera's utilization of the DLAB's powerful wellness monitoring platform. Here is a larger look at our overall data-driven healthcare initiatives. Digitized health information and statistics are providing better health services for many worldwide, but unfortunately, mostly in richer nations. But with the DLAB's lower cost, instantly accessible information capabilities, even the poorest places can enjoy much higher levels of health care. How? Families will receive AI-driven symbiotic supplement suggestions from the DLAB straight to their cell phones and data that can be easily and privately shared with their family health care providers. Meanwhile, governments will receive up-to-the-minute national health statistics and access to an international health database, giving them better tools for dealing with diseases, epidemics, and climate change calamities that know no borders. And there are also strong financial incentives for generating this blockchain bioregenerative data. According to a Forbes article from January 2022, health data value can rise as high as $1,000 per person, making this information an extraordinary potential source of income, especially for poor populations. Corporations with designs on breaking into these new territories with products and or services need this information and will pay a premium price for it. So, with the permission of DLAB users, this data can be provided in decentralized, privacy-protected formats, of course. And as you can see from above, these revenues will be shared with all stakeholders. Smart contracts coupled with decentralized privacy protections would guarantee information would be safe and voluntary and assure that the data sources, the families themselves, are duly credited and automatically compensated. Inspired by humanity's bioregenerative DAO model, Khepera BBDIO introduces the concept of giftpreneurship. This economic system is based on more well-off people giving families in need access to the DLAB and other bioregenerative facilities as free will gifts. Those who give will in turn be gifted back a share in the bioregenerative essentials, earnings, or products created. Millions of caring people from wealthy nations will be called upon to give tax-deductible gifts, crypto or cash, so that hundreds of millions can be free from the hardship of life without sanitation, basic income, and food security, all while helping to create sound economic opportunities that will negate the need for future charity and mitigate countless tons of greenhouse gas. Giftpreneurship will be the modern social mechanism utilized to spread the mutual giving and care that is mankind's heritage. But due to complications of the modern world, we need a trustless, effective way to monitor the giving, sharing, and monetization of these efforts. For this, we call upon a new technological wonder and a burgeoning ecological effort that has arisen around it, blockchain technology and the regenerative finance movement. This is the Khepera BBDIO logo, the sacred Khepera beetle, the treativore of rebirth and renewal from ancient Egypt, interacting with blockchain technology. As blockchain business people and investors, we invite our refi brethren to join with us to generate rebirth and renewal hands-on. We will uplift those in need, save the world from the existential threat of climate change, and install blockchain technological methods as the means to do it. To that end, we're reaching out to blockchain technicians to help create the Khepera BioRegen FT, our NFT smart contract giving infrastructure. Also, any blockchain community that chooses to financially contribute to the efforts of Khepera BBDIO can simply get involved as giftpreneurs and even receive tax write-off for it via our United Nations and other gift flow-through partnerships. And as the revenue comes in from sales of the BioRegenerative Essentials, the giftpreneurs can choose to receive their gift back in the form of their own coin or token of choice, thus adding value to their token ecosystem in a way that also uplifts lives and protects our environment. Khepera BBDIO believes that blending blockchain technology and a new economic system based on bioregeneration will be a tremendous boon to humanity. To this end, we're introducing Khepera Trade Currency, KTC for short. Just like fossil fuel undergirds the value, political clout, and utility of the U.S. petrodollar, we plan to work with the crypto regenerative finance community to create and propagate blockchain bioregenerative money. We're developing KTC as a Swedish franc peg stablecoin on the Lightning Network, backed by the utility of the Bitcoin blockchain and the value of our bioregenerative essentials. KTC use is not meant to exclude other coins, but should be considered as the center of a constellation of useful tokens and blockchain platforms that add value to the bioregenerative mandate. This is Khepera's blockchain bioregenerative utility cathedral. Inscribed into its foundations, you'll see examples of various crypto entities, blockchains, and protocols that we will be calling upon to assist with these world-saving efforts. We're planning a rollout of local Khepera Tech Force members, a huge workforce utilizing blockchain to manage resources, verify information, and help families to monitor their health statuses. Hundreds of millions of families will be issued crypto wallets and decentralized apps, which would make this system the largest distribution of blockchain infrastructure ever. And by activating their respective communities to join in as giftpreneurs, any blockchain endeavor could require their gift returns be transformed into their crypto of choice, thus adding utility to any decentralized platform. To that end, we call upon all of those depicted and more to join us in building what we feel is the ultimate shared crypto use case, the blockchain bioregenerative cathedral. Along those lines, we seek assistance in developing the Khepera Green Crypto Flow Wallet and Bioregenerative Green Debit Card. Imagine a crypto wallet that allows convenient, safe access via biometrics with no centralized storage of information or funds. This we feel we can achieve with the Nillion system, a new decentralized tech endeavor that holds much promise in unifying, strengthening, and enhancing existing blockchain tech. We feel Nillion would greatly assist Khepera BBDIO to achieve our goals, especially in the developing countries of the global south. Khepera BBDIO plans to attract giftpreneur donations from a vast array of sources, individuals, corporations, and even nation-states. All will be attracted to our bioregenerative refi mission, symbiotic health initiatives, as well as giftpreneur returns from product sales and carbon credits. To achieve frictionless cross-border resource transfers, we're seeking technical experts with worldwide connections and facilities in financial areas such as the Ripple protocol, so that the world can easily contribute to these efforts. This is the Crypto Green Wallet at work. Inside it, you see our unique NFT product, the BioRegen FT. The BioRegen FT is where your identity, voting activities, DAO credentials, and benefits are anchored. It will also be the giftpreneur nexus, allowing the wallet user to green flow their crypto by donating from their crypto sales, stake earnings, and revenue generation. The user will be able to set automatic contributions for the purchase of DLAS to be gifted to participating families. The estimated amount each participant family will earn should be around $10,000 yearly, of which giftpreneurs will receive a 10% gift return. This means if a giftpreneur helps 100 families, the donor could possibly receive $100,000 a year. Estimated cost of a D-Lab with required infrastructure is between $150 and $200 per unit. Donations can be tax deductible, and gift return revenue would be a tax-free as an overseas gift in most countries. BioRegen FTs are designed to be fungible, and as long as giftpreneur responsibilities are being met, a giftpreneurship can last indefinitely. Here we have details of the BioRegenerative Green Debit Card. With the assistance of the Ripple system, users will receive a banking card anchored to their green wallet, allowing access and interaction with the fiat banking system. This will be especially useful in developing nations, as the D-Lab allows first-time access to steady basic income for millions and millions of families.
BioRegenerative action.
As travelers on the path back to the bioregenerative economic life cycle, the BELC, Khepera BBDIO has uncovered many things, including the hidden connection between neglected tropical diseases like hookworms and the rising rate of environmentally destructive greenhouse gases. In this case, we're talking about methane, a greenhouse gas with nearly 30 times the polluting power of regular CO2. Most people are not aware that about half the weight in human feces breaks down into methane, the smelly gas lingering above landfills and latrine systems. And as this pollution flows into the atmosphere, parasitic worms are also flowing into the soil to infect the local population over and over again. Now let's take a look again at what the D-Lab can do about this. Black soldier fly larvae inside a D-Lab can consume an estimated 2 tons of bioregeneratives per average family, thus mitigating 1 ton of methane gas yearly per household. Then, mushrooms grown on probiotic-infused insect frass would create strongly symbiotic fungal products. Symbiotic products help the body expel parasites, and along with mushrooms deployed as pathogen assassins, would free entire populations from hookworms, sepsis, and mosquitoes. Couple this with blockchain-linked sensors inside D-Labs monitoring health and managing symbiotic resources, and an entirely new paradigm of human well-being would ensue. Blockchain bioregeneration, the return of the BELC, can save the lives of untold numbers of children while mitigating millions of tons of greenhouse gas. Now that we see the potential, how do we come together? How do we let the world know? For that, we need a strong call to action. Khepera's blockchain bioregenerative DAO, Khepera BBDIO.